In honor of Halloween, the artist groups from Denis Wick and Alliance Brass are bringing you their spookiest, scariest, and in some cases silliest unexplained events in their musical lives. Grab your favorite Halloween candy and enjoy this next story from Denis Wick artist Algirdas Matonis.
The very first time I played with the River City Brass when I arrived here as a guest artist, I traveled on a plane and I played Harlequin, and there was maybe a second or the third concert. I'm pretty sure there was a third concert in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, in a theater called the Palace Theater, and it's a big theater. They hold big rock bands, mainstream bands, comedians. It's a big venue. It's a very prestigious venue. We played there, and they call my name, and I enter the stage, I take a bow, and we start playing. And maybe within like 5 or 6 bars, one of my valves just jams up, and I'm playing this lyrical melody, and suddenly there's like nothing coming out of that. And the conductor notices that, and he stops the piece immediately. We're talking about, at this point, I'm pretty sure it was over 1,000 people in the audience. And he starts making a shtick that, they don't use valve oil in Europe. He forgot. He's making like a joke. And at that point, it wasn't sticky, it was jammed. And I realized, valve oil, and band members are passing me valve oil. And I'm like, yeah, give me the valve oil. But in my head, I know that it's definitely nothing to do with the valve oil. Something's wrong with that thing. And I remember I started hearing somebody in the back going like, just grab my euphonium. And I saw Lance handing me one of his euphonium. And I remember up to this point, somebody from Cornet's section said, don't take an instrument you're not used to playing with. And I was like, just get out of the way. And I remember, I grabbed his euphonium, and audience laughed. My heart rate is probably borderline heart attack. But as soon as I got the instrument, I mellowed down and I recovered. We started over again. Went very, very well. That version of Harlequin is on YouTube, and you can actually see me playing. And there's another euphonium on the stage next to my standing just randomly. So that's if you ever come across that video now, you know why that euphonium is there. So coincidentally, next year in October, because that was October series, I arrived and I started playing in October, and same concert series, Halloween series, and I was playing this air and dairy piece called All Those Endearing Young Charms. And there's maybe like an 8-bar intro off the band, and then suddenly there's this big cadenza starting on the middle concert F, where you go, and then it goes just crazy. And I remember I'm hearing those bars, I'm counting, and then I take a big breath, and nothing's coming out of the instrument, like nothing. And again, the conductor stops, I start figuring out, and in my head I was like, okay, one of the valves is broken at the top, but I'm looking, it felt like somebody switched my valves like in the wrong places. But the funny thing is I just played a piece like a minute ago and it was working fine. So I'm looking those top 3 valves, and nothing seems to be wrong. And I realized that the bottom 4th valve, the valve guide, is broken. Same thing, I go grab my colleague's horn. Heart rate is about, I don't know, as high as it gets. I play the solo, it goes well. Surprisingly enough, after I would get their instrument, there would be like, after this initial adrenaline dump, I would have like the most calm performance, just because all the adrenaline was like, what am I gonna do? My instrument is broke. So at some point they started making like these jokes, and it became funny or not, but for maybe a year or 2, like my biggest anxiety for playing is just don't break.